What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Garage Gang Podcast. I have Aaron on my right. I got Joe to my left. My name is Ken. Joining us today, we have Ray Ray McelrathBey, former Clemson football player who had just an amazing story and experience while he was playing over at Clemson. So amazing that Disney approached him to make a movie on that part of his life. And the movie is called Safety, which you can find on Disney Plus. It just dropped, I believe, last month. And we've all three seen it, and we loved it. We loved the story. We're big sports fans, so we love that part of it too. Ray Ray, glad to finally link up with you, and it's great to have you on the Garage Gang Podcast, my man. How are you doing, my bud?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. A lot of things are going well in life, better than most days. So any day that I'm living, I'm excited.
There it is.
I feel you on that.
I'm sure you've been pretty busy recently, though, with the movie coming out. I'm sure you got a lot of people reaching out and want to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of popular at the moment. That's pretty cool.
I will say it's always nice because, being a sports fan forever, you always look for those kind of movies and stuff. And then right away, when I saw Clemson University and I saw a football movie on Disney, I'm like, all right, let's go. Me and my little girl sat down and watched it, and they loved it. I mean, it was a great movie.
And it was super cool because I've always followed Clemson. I always really had a thing for them. I like the colors. I like just the area in the ACC. And you were there at a time where they were, one or two games away from being on that top echelon teams, if I remember right. You lose that one or two games in the ACC.
It'd always be like Florida State or something like that, like one of those games, or Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that'll knock us out of the top 10.
Yeah. You guys were always there. It was before that great successful period.
At that point in time when you were actually there, we were all in high school, so it was like even more so paid attention to, especially college football and all that. So it was.
Was your quarterback like Taj Boyd? Was that right? Was that your year?
No. I was my quarterback, Cullen Harper. I came right after Charlie Whitehurst, and
Gotcha.
Okay, I remember Charlie Whitehurst there.
At the time.
That's awesome. CJ Spiller there, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Spiller, James Davis, the Thunder and Lightning pair. Yeah.
Man, CJ Spiller was fast. That boy, man. I remember.
Fast.
Whew. Okay, so we're going to start off. You grew up in Atlanta. Kind of just tell us about what it was like growing up in the ATL and I guess some of your best memories and what it was like,
Growing up in Atlanta, I was born in Chicago, raised in Atlanta.
Oh.
Growing up in Atlanta is where I picked up athletics. So it was the time in my life where what I would say that made me who I am was most prevalent, because I picked up the friends that I still call my brothers today. And so we played baseball was my initial sport. And I was pretty good at baseball, but I just could never be patient enough to deal with the game. So
Yeah. A lot of patience.
Headed towards football and basketball a lot more. My mom and my dad were together. They were married initially, and my mom with her struggled through addiction. But that was it happened through the years for the most part. So we dealt with that growing up, and so it'd be days where everything was fine, and then other days that were not so great. And typically, people think of money being the answer to most questions, but that's the thing that typically triggered my mom when she had an excess of money.
Yeah.
I get it.
And it was one of those things that I grew up with where if she had too much spending money at a time, then you knew things were going to be a little different that night.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't want to, cast a shadow on my childhood like it was all terrible, but I had wonderful times and not so wonderful times. I guess I wouldn't call it terrible because other people had it worse, but not the greatest times dealing with all the things that I dealt with growing up. And therefore, the movie wasn't able to show some of those things because it's not for Disney.
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my childhood, I guess, in reflection to what was seen on the movie, was possibly quite worse. So it was one of those things where you gotta, give some and take some.
Well,
Right.
I mean, watching it kind of inferred that like you had problems with that man who had your your brother at the beginning of the movie. It showed that you kind of had a history with that, and so it kind of like we knew that it was rough, and obviously we knew it couldn't be from Disney because they're not gonna be able to show all that. But it just looked rough. It looked like it wasn't an easy situation. Especially having to worry about your brother like that. That can't be easy.
I have 7 siblings.
Oh,
What,
wow.
man?
Okay, they didn't show that.
Yeah.
Hey, what number are you?
I'm the oldest male, so I'm the 3rd kid.
Gotcha.
I have 2 brothers, and then it was me. And then there's a brother. Well, there's 2 kids between me and Fahmarr.
Okay.
Wow.
I had custody of them once I graduated college, but during school I only had Fahmarr. But my childhood, or going back in history in the movie, it doesn't show that I have a bunch of other siblings, and a lot of them were in the same situations.
Sheesh, man, I had no idea.
Wow.
So how did that go? How was that during that time? I mean, you said you had Fahmarr, but obviously were the rest of them going through the system during that time?
Well, we had a mixture of situations that we were all in. So during times when my mom would go to rehab, my older sister would stay with her grandparents. My other sister would stay with her grandparents. I would stay with my father. My younger brothers would typically go with my mom. The kids would go with my mom to rehab, and then the older kids would typically go with another family member.
Okay.
And one time or another, I was always with my dad before he wasn't in my life as much because my parents split. But it was always a situation where it was kind of multiple kids in multiple different places. And so when I got Fahmarr, I guess all my siblings were pretty much displaced. None at the time were in the system, but all of them were displaced.
Man, dude, I totally applaud you for just trying to keep, at least partial of the family together,
Right.
not letting them, because I've even had it in my family where, sometimes once they get into the system, it's hard to see them or find them, or they just, they slip through because they're dealing with so many kids, it's just, it's crazy. This is why I'm glad we're getting to sit down with you, because that the movie picked up when you're going to a freshman year at Clemson, and it's basically that's where we pick up. So we got to infer before that,
Right.
But
They really didn't talk about high school like as much. Like, where'd you go to high school? What sports did you play in school?
Well, I went to high school at Forest Park High School my 9th grade year. It was a school in Clay County, which is a county right outside the city.
Yeah.
Because I was kicked out of Atlanta public schools. I got kicked out of Atlanta public schools in 4th grade. I wasn't always.
It happens.
do you like to tussle?
Well, at the time, I was in a fight.
Yeah.
And the principal broke up the fight in a manner in which I didn't feel was favorable to me.
Gotcha.
So, woman got a knife and threatened to stab him, and I flattened his tires on his Benz.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay. Well, you got yours.
Yeah.
Crazy me. I went to juvenile that night.
You got your point across though.
4th grade, man.
4th grade. I was a little different kid.
Yeah.
But middle school, I was a pretty good athlete, but because I got kicked out of elementary school, I went to alternative school, but it was the best thing to happen to me educational-wise because I was one-on-one with the teacher as opposed to being in the class with 30 to 25 students. Moving past that, I had education that was a little bit more advanced. So when I got to middle school, I was bored, and therefore I got in more trouble.
Yeah.
But I made it through middle school pretty easily. It was pretty good educational grade-wise. High school, I was foolish again. My freshman coach told me that I need to worry about football, and they'll worry about academics. And the first semester, that's what happened. They worried about the academics. I worried about the football. I passed. But then my second semester, they found that I was transferring back into Atlanta Public Schools because they allowed me to come back.
Yeah.
And they were finding out I transferred, so they didn't fix my grades.
Oh shit.
Not that I earned any grades, but
But still, it was inferred that you were going to have that taken care of.
Yeah.
Yes.
They pulled a
that
petty
wasn't
little
the case.
move.
So when I got to my new school, which is Mays High School, I was academically ineligible for a second. But then once I was academically eligible, they made me sit out the year because they said I was recruited.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they have rules like that over here.
Yeah, so I played AAU basketball, I played football, I played baseball up until I was 14. And I ran track, I played tennis in high school as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you did it all.
Wow.
That's great.
Well, I was a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
And throughout high school, but I stayed with my Little League football coach from 9 till about 14. And then I stayed with my AAU basketball coach. And then I started living with my high school principal for a moment before Clemson.
Wow. And then tennis, that's not something you'd expect. I mean, you know what I mean? You're over here naming baseball, basketball, and then tennis. He was like, oh, wow.
No, not at all. It was one of those different things. We were pretty good. We were athletic. My doubles teammate was my point guard in basketball.
So
okay.
you had that 1-2.
Yes, we had played AAU basketball.
Chemistry.
Since we were 10.
Okay.
And, we were good in that till we finished second nationally. We won.
Oh,
bunch of
wow.
tournaments.
Jesus.
That's great.
We won state in basketball back to back too. That was
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Just 4 of my AAU basketball teammates came to the same high school at the same time. But since I was moving with the coach, they got me because it wasn't what they call a legitimate move. But I had already lived with the coach.
Yeah.
Right.
My point. So, but they weren't hearing that.
So it sounds like you kept yourself busy with sports for the most part. I know for me, it kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Sports kept you out of a lot of
Yeah, it
trouble.
kept me out of a lot of trouble. I mean, I did football, basketball, baseball, and volleyball my whole life, and
still got in your fair amount of trouble.
you
so.
still got my fair amount of trouble. But it taught me discipline, a lot of discipline, especially football. Once I hit football, it does a lot for you, especially where we live. When did you know that football could possibly change your life, or there could be, you could go higher, learn, and play football? Could be a way out of a different, a bad situation or, an unfavorable one.
It was always in the back of my mind as a kid. I said I was going to make it to the NFL. Said I was going to make it to the NBA. MLB at the time was more prevalent for me.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The Braves were a real good team. I was in Atlanta. They had just won the World Series. I had kind of idolized Kenny Lofton.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was off on my football team. I used to always bunt and steal bases, so it was my thing. So moving past that, I guess football became a thing when one of my friends, childhood friends, they used to pick on me. I was that kid that just moved in the neighborhood and never had played sports. But they needed a guy, so I was always picked up and kind of taken advantage of, to say the least. All my friends were older. But that got me better because I was used to playing with older kids. So by the time I got to kids my age, it was a lot easier.
Uh-huh.
And football became more so something real to me in 11th grade when I was offered a scholarship by Ball State to go play.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
I never knew if I was actually going to go. It was just something I said when people asked me what I was going to do with my life because it was the thing I felt most passionate about. I never knew how I was going to get there. I knew my parents couldn't afford it. So it was like, yeah, I want to do it, but I'm not quite sure. My mom didn't finish high school. My dad didn't finish high school. My coach didn't finish college. So it wasn't, something that was very much preached a lot. Yes, go to school, but not as much how all that take place and what do I need to do to get there and so on and so on. The application fees and
that's something that you don't really realize is something until you're starting to turn them in. You're like, wait, it's how much per application?
$60
like
here,
what?
I'm gonna apply to 9.
Yeah.
9 CSUs.
just to take the SAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You pay for those things and you got to provide your own transportation there. You got to take the test, provide your own transportation home. Hope that you get a score good enough that it's enough so you don't have to do it over again.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude.
But I was lucky enough to get into a prep class, luckily.
Yeah.
Bunch of blessings.
AP
But that
college
was
prep.
how I came to football for me.
So you mentioned Ball State.
Yes.
Was there any other schools that offer? I mean, I imagine if Clemson's offering you, you're going to have a bunch of other schools offering you.
Yes, yes. Other schools that I was heavily considering: Auburn, Florida, Arkansas,
Yeah.
and I looked at Tech, but I didn't want to stay that close to home.
And you told everyone Ball State?
What about not UCLA?
I appreciate Ball State
Yeah.
for our scholarship because until then it wasn't real.
Got you.
Right.
Okay, so the other schools were just interested, and they
Then
offered.
I went to camps and I was offered scholarship at every camp that I attended.
Yeah.
And then the University of Michigan offered me a scholarship, and I was
That's a
real
big
excited
one.
about possibly going to Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Wow.
So why Clemson?
Yeah.
Felt like a family. And
Okay.
they brought the whole coaching staff to one of my basketball games.
So they meant business.
Yes. They
Yeah.
were really serious about
They
recruiting.
showed the love, and definitely.
And so it felt like a family at the time. They had a coach named Burns. He was the running back coach. He's now the running back coach for the Giants. But he had a great family who welcomed me, and then every game I came to, it was welcoming, and it felt like home. So it was a good decision.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Clemson looks like a very nice place to go to college. Much more, play football over there.
Right. And especially at that time in your life, too, when you're taking in a big step, being away from home, like to have that family feel, that closeness is very important.
And I think that's what Disney tried very, very hard to portray is that family closeness
Right.
that you and your teammates and with the coaching staff and to an extent the faculty. So
Yes, it takes a lot of it takes a lot to put all that into 2 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Very based with everything else that they were trying to convey in the movie to get their point across. The first cut was like 3.5 hours long.
I
And
bet.
there's more footage that we shot that was not shown, but it's okay. The movie came out great.
Movie came out great, that's
It
for
did,
sure.
it did.
All right. Well, speaking of the movie, before we get into the whole Guts of Your movie, we're gonna do a segment. We usually like to do a segment with one of our guests where we kind of get to know them a little bit. So today we're gonna do a power ranking segment, and we're gonna rank our top 5 favorite football movies.
Top 5 favorite football movies.
Yeah.
Top 5 favorite
yeah.
football movies. We'll go first, give you a little chance to think, and then we'll go to you. All right?
I feel like I'm cheating now because y'all going first.
If you want to go
We-
first, go ahead.
Honestly, you can go first.
You
We
wanna
just
go
always
first?
let always let.
We'll
Yeah.
go around the room. I'll give 2, and then I'll let y'all continue.
All right.
Top 2.
I'll
Top.
give 2 of them, and then I'll give my last 3, so I won't seem as if I'm piggybacking on everything.
Okay.
that you all.
Smart man.
I got you. I got you.
I like this.
They're all in here. So any given Sunday,
It's
Love it.
Al Pacino.
Rudy, of course.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay, y'all can go ahead.
Those are yours too? All right. So I'll start.
now.
Yeah, for now. I got you. I got you. So I'll start off with number 5, The Longest Yard. The new one.
Okay.
The one with Adam Sandler and all that.
Yes.
I just thought it was hilarious.
The old one's badass too.
Yeah,
You've
the old
seen
one-
the old
the
one,
old one's
right?
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
The
I was
old
gonna
one's
say,
awesome.
I'll
But
break out the old VHS for you over here.
I know, right? I just thought it was hilarious. The cast they had in there was awesome. Terry Crews as Cheeseburger Eddie, who's probably one of my favorite characters in like any movie. It was
Okay.
just
Yeah.
hilarious. Number 4 is Invincible.
Vince
with
Papale.
Vince Papale and I just thought that was a pretty awesome movie. Kind of started at the bottom. Worked your way. I mean, he didn't work his way all the way to the top, but he made it to the NFL, and he was in on special teams, did his whole thing, and that's the ultimate.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about that the other day. I was like, Invincible's kind of like the adult version of Rudy when you think about it. I was like, they kind of have the same theme. Just
Made their play, the one big
they all had
play,
heart and character.
Yeah.
You know,
The guy, Mark Hardy, the guy who produced my movie, produced Invincible and the game plan. And we got just one more football movie he had.
One more Disney football movie.
Well, he did The Rookie, too.
Oh, wow.
that's a great
That's
movie
an
right there.
amazing movie.
But
Okay,
go ahead.
so number
Back to
3,
football.
I got The Blind Side.
Yes.
Blind Side is great.
Michael.
Yeah, great movie, but even better story.
Yes.
Number 2, I'm gonna go with the jersey I'm wearing, The Water Boy.
Damn, it kind of does look like Clemson from the movie.
We got Bobby Boucher, the greatest college football player to ever play. The SCLSU Mud Dogs.
Number 9.
Led him to the Bourbon Bowl. I thought it fit this pod too well because it kind of looks like a Clemson jersey, and you were number 9. You know, I feel like show some love. And then my favorite is Friday Night Lights. That one right there was by far the favorite movie for me. It was one of those ones that it showed you how absolutely crazy it is in Texas, and also with that is the show that went with Friday Night Lights, the TV show. Me and my wife loved it. That's a great show.
One of my favorites.
And then I guess like my honorable mention, because it should be in my list, but because of it is Remember the Titans. I loved Remember the Titans, but my high school was being named during that time, and we've grown up being the Napomo Cowboys. We had the star in our helmet. It was like our whole town was
youth football's a huge thing where we live.
We were always known as the Napomo Cowboys. Well, that came out right when they were naming our high school, and because it was such a popular thing, we became the Napomo Titans. And I just forever, I'm like, oh man, that stupid movie made us the Titans, man. We should be the Cowboys. But other than that was a great movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that, it was a great movie.
I just put number 5, Longest Yard / Waterboy. It's cool. Remember the Titans, number 4. Friday Night Lights, number 3, plus the show. Number 2, I love The Replacements.
The Replacements.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
It's just great.
The
Nothing
kicker
really else to
smoking a
say
cigarette
about
the entire time.
Yeah. It's just so much in that.
Awesome.
And then number 1's Varsity Blues. I love that movie. Billy Bob, man, the West Canaan Coyotes. But went with a little more comedy up at the top of my list.
There you
go.
That's a good list. So I'll go number 5, Rudy. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so gotta throw that in there. Number 4, Blindside. That's a great story. Number 3, Radio. I loved Radio, man. That was a phenomenal
With Cuba?
movie.
Very underrated movie these days, I think.
That was a great movie.
Kind of forgot about that movie,
Me
honestly.
too.
Number 2, I went Draft Day with Kevin Costner. I thought that was a really good movie. Yeah,
I like that movie.
That was
Jerry Maguire counts as a football movie?
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think
You
so
know what?
too.
Yeah.
Because if you think about a Draft Day, kind of shows you obviously the front end of the football team during that special part of the season, and Jerry Maguire shows you the agent view.
Oh, yeah.
How these agents, like a low key version of probably what these agents have to go through. I mean, more times than not,
Yeah, Draft Day.
Show me the money.
Draft Day showed you what the most important day as a Jaguars fan is like, because the only thing we get to look forward to is a draft.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If we get Trevor Lawrence this year, though,
Don't mess it up.
let's go. Urban Meyer and Trevor.
Don't mess this pick up.
Yeah.
All right,
So I'll go number 1, Remember the Titans. I think that's iconic. Probably the most.
Oh,
we lost the
there we
video.
go.
Okay, we're there. We're
Probably
good.
one of the best football movies ever made.
I think we can all agree.
Can we hear your last 3 now?
Let's hear your last 3.
After Any Given Sunday and Rudy, Waterboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because of the 9.
There you go.
It made one of my lists. Remember the Titans. Yes, and then I watched Brian's Song.
Brian's Song, yeah, it's older. It's a good movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I gotta watch it now.
Yeah, is it about not Gale Sayers? Is it? I forget what it was.
Piccolo.
But yeah, Piccolo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it. I gotta
Definitely
watch
try
it.
to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Shit.
it was one of the early movies that influenced me to play football and made me kind of like football for different reasons. And to kind of see a story and kind of root for the underdog.
Right.
It was a good movie.
Okay, Brian, I'm gonna write that down. So.
Then you got The Replacements. I feel like I'm leaving out a couple of them I had just in my mind, but
Damn, I feel like that. We were going over this yesterday, and I was like, damn, there's just plenty kept popping into my mind, and like after I thought about it for like 5-10 minutes, I was like, damn, how do I put this list? The list isn't concrete by any means.
No.
We're just giving love now.
I feel like my list is
No
a lot of like inspirational, feel good,
Knowing Joe, that's not a surprise.
That's your character.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
We have our things.
absolutely, man.
All right, so now we're gonna go into kind of playing at Clemson when you got there. My biggest question is, what's it like playing in the ACC? You got the big schools. You're playing against the Florida States. Like you said, Virginia Tech, when Virginia Tech was still very prevalent and in the national spotlight. What was that like?
It was exciting. It was a blessing. It was an honor to get to play against guys and see guys like your Kelvin Johnson, your Devin Hesters, the guys that are on my team, CJ Spiller, James Davis, to play in the atmosphere, to play at Death Valley.
That's
It's
huge.
nothing like still the most exciting 25 seconds of football. It was that before. It's that even more now.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it's the ACC, and people argue about the SEC. But if you're a kind of running gun guy, the ACC is more you think. If you're a pounder, like smash mouth football, you just bang bang bang. It's more of an SEC. But if you like passing and what the game is now in the NFL, then ACC is kind of where it's at.
So you mentioned, are you talking about the greatest 25 seconds, like the touching Howard's Rock and running down the hill? Is that kind of what you're talking about, the best feeling?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you the question since we've never had anyone from Clemson on. What is the story with Howard's Rock? Like, why does that mean so much to the Clemson University?
Okay, Coach Frank Howard basically brought it in, and he is an emblem of your, I guess, commitment to the team to give 110%. So it's basically, don't touch my rock. It became a milestone. Don't touch my rock until you're sure you're going to give 110%. And it became a tradition over time because he's, Frank Howard.
Yeah.
And it continued on for years and years and years.
I mean, that's pretty cool, though. It's because as someone who has no idea, you just see a rock sitting in the middle of a strip of grass, and you're like, what the hell? Like, I mean, you see like the Notre Dame play like a champion. They all hit it before they go out. These schools have these traditions. I just think that's pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Clemson has a bunch of different traditions, and some of them you won't understand until you've been in Clemson for a long time, because my recruiting visit, there was a gentleman named Jeff Davis. He played linebacker on the national championship team. During my Clemson University recruiting visit, he cried during the time he was singing the alma mater. He came in, spoke to us for about 15 minutes, but sung the alma mater at the end and cried. And I couldn't figure it out. It's, supposed to be this tough guy. He's over here crying. Why is he crying? But then once you graduate and once you go through it and you look back on it, you'll see what all that emotion is for.
Right.
You'll understand why people feel the way they do about Clemson. And that's my college experience, and it's been
just that
much
pride,
more.
that sense of pride and the proudness that you have.
I love the background behind Howard's Rock, because don't touch the rock if you and go onto that field if you ain't 100% committed in what you're doing, and I know for a fact that you got my back. You got my back, I got yours. And, don't even step field, because, that's the kind of stuff we say in the locker room. It's like, I don't want you going out there if, you're not going to give 100%.
Right.
And it's cool because, I mean, the coach they got now, Dabo, I feel like he's just such like an embracer. Like, you know what I mean? Like the family that you're talking about, I feel like he just shows a lot of love. And, I mean, he was a perfect hire for Clemson. That guy, not only has he just changed the football culture, but just like the way people see Clemson, I feel like now Clemson is feared. Everyone knew that they were good when they had Taj Boyd and stuff.
National brand.
They were good, and they were always going to be there. But now it's like Clemson and Bama and Ohio State. Those are I think pretty much the three main. They're in the college football playoff almost every single year. They're always
easily.
Yeah, and so. It's cool to see someone who's embraced the traditions, because you could tell that man has, because he's all about all about Clemson.
Dabo got him over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
They need, like I said, they were losing that 1, 2, 3 games. They would come in like 8-0, 9-0, whatever, and then he got him over that hump. He was able to do that.
Dabo was a position coach when I was there. He was the receivers coach.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Cool. That's a good tidbit.
So what was he like?
Coordinator was a GA, a graduate assistant. When I first met him.
What was Dabo like? I mean, did he have all that energy back then too? Has he changed?
He was younger then. He was our top recruiter for a reason because he did the work. He was committed. He was honest, and that's all you can expect from someone.
Yep. Until we got Urban Meyer, I was pushing for us to go out and try to hire Dabo Sweeney. I was like, "Come on, Jags." I love that man. Okay, so we talked about what's it like to play in the ACC, but what where were some of your favorite places you got to play? You mentioned getting to play obviously at Death Valley, but on the road, like maybe Florida State, stuff like that. And then who were some of the best players that you saw on the field?
Florida State was a great place to play because it was unlike anything that you had thought about. You had seen things on TV. A lot of it was just basically because you had seen these places on TV. And you had made it up in your mind that, one day I'll be on these fields and get into that atmosphere, and it was crazy. Florida State was crazy. Virginia Tech seemed different. But unfortunately, when we went to Virginia Tech, it was right after they had the shooting on campus.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Real quiet.
It wasn't, one of those places that seemed it was a little different.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the places that stuck out. Anytime you go up to University of South Carolina and you're a Clemson guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot of hate up there.
What's that rivalry game called? Does it have a name? I forget. You know how name?
I guess Palmetto Bowl.
Okay.
For the state, some people call it. Then
That's cool.
I mean,
so there's legit hate there, right?
It's us picking on South Carolina for the most part.
Good.
Nowadays,
Keep picking them
especially.
up. Yeah, I'm glad.
So is there legit hate? Like if you're from Clemson and someone walks around wearing a South Carolina jacket, are they going to get shit? Like, are people going to sit there and tell them, or is it kind of like, oh yeah?
Yeah, it's serious. It's real serious. I've been in a situation where I'm fortunate enough to have been on the best of both sides because the University of South Carolina has always been pretty much good to me. The players donated their per diem to my brother's trust fund for one game. I was up there, and there was this fan, and he was cussing the team out. We were walking onto the field. F Clemson, F you guys suck. All this other stuff, and then he was like, Ray, you're the man, man.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yes, that's why I have mixed feelings about the University of South Carolina.
Yeah, they have been good to you for the most part. It sounds like.
Yeah, they were pretty good to me, considering me repping orange and bleeding orange and all that great stuff.
Right.
And get just rewinding back to the best atmosphere. I know I've seen a night game at Virginia Tech. Where they do the Enter Sandman and everything, like the lights and everything. That was just. I watched that on the computer, and that sent chills down. I was like, damn, gets me pumped up and ready.
And how loud does it get when the
chop?
Florida State guys are doing on the tomahawk chop? I mean,
it gets extremely loud.
Yeah, it looks pretty wild.
Louder than normal in a lot of places, and we try to simulate that in practice by bringing speakers onto the field and turning them up loud as they could possibly go and try to communicate. Basically, that's why the football team convinced the university to bring on sign language teachers.
Oh, that's great.
That's actually really smart.
Take sign language. Well, when I was there.
Nowadays, they just got all those cards with the different pictures.
Well, that's actually what we did. Well,
kind of you, when you won.
We coached a freshman high school football team, and the offensive coordinator and he would be up top, and I would relay plays to the quarterback via sign language. So it was actually
except it wasn't loud at all, and we were freshman games, but we just, we just did it because that was the way to do it.
It's convenient.
Yeah, very convenient for sure.
So getting on to the meat of this, the movie Safety. They made the movie about this part of your life and experience at Clemson. I guess getting to the first question, what went into your ultimate decision to bring your brother in to live with you on campus, knowing that you're possibly breaking team rules and NCAA rules, and what the ramifications, could have been. I'll hear your thoughts on that.
Me being young and dumb. Nah. I didn't weigh out the consequences when I went into it because it was happening so fast. It was part of my brother's decision, part of my decision because I had to, accept him in. But he didn't want to go back. He said he would rather go to foster care than to go back to Vegas, which is where they were living at the time, as opposed to what the movie showed.
Gotcha.
Where he was in Atlanta. He was actually in Las Vegas. My parents were staying in a weekly motel about 0.5 miles from the strip. So
Okay.
less than my strip. So it wasn't the best of places, and he didn't want to go back. And so he came to Clemson for a visit during the summer. And unlike in the movie, when he first got there, there was no need to hide him. My coaches knew that he was around. They knew he was going to be there. They just figured he would be leaving.
Yeah.
So what happened was he ended up not leaving. I just kept him out of sight. So there was some hiding, but it was more so from my coaches and most of my team. Because a lot of the freshman guys that I hung around with already knew he was there because he was staying in my apartment.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of hard to hide them, right? A little.
Yeah. And then I had a roommate also as well. So it was one of those situations. But it was a blessing in disguise. It was the movie couldn't cover everything that happened. There was so much that they kind of moved around, but also there was so much that they had to leave out.
So it showed that you had like a 30-day time limit in them. So that means that was never a thing where it was like he's only going to be here for 30 days. He was just staying until you got caught, kind of thing.
Well, he was going to be there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
The initial in the summer was supposed to be for 2 weeks. He stayed for 4 weeks, and then it was getting close for him to go back to school.
Okay.
To return back to school as well. So I told my coaches, he's leaving, and as opposed to him leaving, he stayed and just kind of stayed out of sight. So that was the hiding part.
I got you. So the movie showed that the coaches got mad but what actually happened when they did find out about Fahmarr?
Well, they kind of found out when everybody else found out. Because it was a newspaper story that ran on the front page.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so that's how they found out. It wasn't the linebacker guy coming and saying you're gonna.
That guy was an asshole, by the way, in the movie, man. That guy really made me hate him.
I was like, the movie put him there to make you hate him.
Right. They needed an antagonist.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
It was me. I guess they couldn't show the coaches in both lights because the coaches were probably my most antagonist feature because those were the people I was trying to deceive the most.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Because they were the closest to me and could affect me the most. So I kept them out of sight, out of mind, and then the reporter, still saw him around and asked my freshman teammate, what's he doing? He was like, yeah, that's Ray Ray brother, and he's keeping him. It was like, he's really keeping them. And me thinking they wanted to do a story about me, not so much about my life, just talk about Clemson football. I did the story. We talked 6 hours about my life over 2 days. And it was supposed to be, he had a sports column. It never was supposed to be on the front page, but they ended up running on the front page.
Yeah.
And that's, the public and my coaches were like, oh, wow, here we are now. What do we do?
Yeah. And so after
crazy.
that, so did the compliance guy then have the whole deal, talk with you, and that all happened to where you guys had
Yeah, because I had to get off campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a student, not just a student athlete, but as a student in general, you can't have a kid on campus.
Gotcha.
And the minor, I had to move off campus. So that was the first thing I had to do. And then from there, it was like, okay, so what's next? What's the plan? And my coaches wanted to know what I planned on doing. And I said, I plan on keeping them and seeing what happens. And we went with it for a little while until I was suspended for violating NCAA rules.
Okay.
Because the story was public, then they showed him at a game at Florida State.
Okay.
Excuse me. They showed him at Florida State on TV. And then the question became, how did he get there?
Gotcha.
And so I was immediately suspended because that's considered an extra benefit for him to ride with someone.
Makes sense, but
Yeah, we actually we interviewed the Cal Poly basketball team, and we kind of were talking about that as far as like being able to like, hey, can we give these guys a shirt, for the podcast? And the coach is like, yeah, no, you can't even do that. Not even supposed to like take them out to eat. None of that stuff. They're pretty strict about that.
Which I think is ridiculous. You can't buy a kid a meal. If he comes on your podcast, you can't buy a pizza to feed everyone in the room. Like, that's ridiculous.
No. You got to offer that to the student body.
Yeah.
Like, which is absolutely amazing. That's these guys. They're giving their time to be with you. Worst we can do is just give them like.
I think in the near future we're going to be figuring more about that here.
I
pretty
hope
soon,
so.
Which is a good thing.
Right.
And hopefully we can get some NCAA football game, video games like coming back on the.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, so did you play with yourself on the NCAA football games? I mean, I'd imagine so, right?
I wasn't good as I needed to be to continuously play with myself. Of course I did, and that sounded kind of...
Aaron
Yeah.
said that. I was like,
When
should
he-
I like laugh?
When it like rolled off the tongue.
Pause. We'll just wait and just take that in. But nah, that wasn't what...
So-
it didn't sound like I wanted to sound, but yes, that's... I had the opportunity to do that. That was fun.
That's cool. Being a video game.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Ever since I was a kid, I created myself on every video game.
Oh,
Oh,
well, of
absolutely, yeah.
But the fact that you didn't have to create yourself must be a pretty cool deal, you know?
Yes. Only if I was better, it would have been, you know what I mean?
Right. When your ratings are like a 70, it gets you low on yourself. You're like, come on, man, I'm better than that.
Y'all don't respect nobody knows me. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you they suspended you and you went under the violations. What did it mean to you to get the support of your school and your teammates the way you did through that process? Or did they show you support through the whole thing? Or was that kind of a
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, they were very supportive. It was a wonderful situation. I never felt alone, actually. I felt a little abandoned by the NCAA when they suspended me. Like, why are y'all doing this? I felt attacked.
Yeah.
Not necessarily alone. I felt attacked. Like, why y'all bothering me? I ain't doing that to nobody. And I haven't received any money. I can see if I got some money.
Yeah.
Then we can have a conversation, but nobody's giving me any money. I've actually turned down money up until this point. So why am I getting suspended? So, but the NCAA came through, and that was a wonderful thing. And I guess the rest is history. I'm not sure how to explain it. I'm confused a little bit.
No, you're good. You're good. That was it.
Don't trip.
So after Clemson, you battled some injuries, and then you went to go to Howard to pursue your master's. So what led into that, leaving Clemson and going to pursue school otherwise? Was it just injuries and it didn't work out?
Right. Yes. I tore my ACL my sophomore year, and after that season, they wanted, I guess, to make a decision because I was graduating, and they decided not to renew my scholarship.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business.
A little rough.
Business, but still a quick shot to the groin area for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. It was an individual thing more so than a Clemson thing, and Clemson offered for me to stay. I could have stayed and not played, but stayed at Clemson. But that wasn't what I wanted to do at the time. So I went on to go to Howard and play football and pursue my master's. And education became more important to me because I had got hurt. Up until that point, I was invincible.
Yeah. You thought you were going to the NFL?
Or at least I thought, nothing can touch me. Or at least I hadn't experienced any major injury, even the injury that would keep me from a game, let alone. So it made me kind of reevaluate what was important.
Hey, knees are no joke too, because I my junior year of high school, I blew out I tore everything but my ACL. My knee did this. It twisted and then bent. And yeah, it was like the day before my first varsity game.
I remember the play.
Yeah, it was horrible. I just ran a crossing route. I was a tight end, and I ran a crossing route, and we were wearing shoulder pads and helmets. We weren't wearing pads. It was the walkthrough practice before the first varsity game of my life. And he just went to wrap me up just as like a, everyday walkthrough wrap up. And his leg went in between mine, and we went down, and I like my leg had already planted, and I just seasoned over, man. It was rough. But I just remember the mental aspect was the hardest thing to get over because my knee felt, it hurt, but it felt decent after about like 2 months. It felt decent enough for me to like start kind of pushing it and stuff. But it was the mental of like, oh, if I do that, it's gonna hurt, or if I do that, it's gonna tear again. You know?
And that's sometimes the most difficult thing to get over is the mental. You know, like you talk about a quarterback having a knee injury. You know, they never get. They gotta. It takes a little bit to get that comfortability to step back up in the pocket, knowing that there's bodies below your knees that can roll over you.
Especially being a lineman or a tight end. I mean, I was getting rolled up on all the time. But what I was going was that being a safety and having to rely on that speed and all that, and the quick cuts of open field tackles, because you're usually the last line of defense.
Guarding the best athletes on the field.
100%. What was it like trying to get back in the mindset of being able to do that, like the training and whatnot?
I mean, it was tough because even after you completely healed, it is the mind part of it where you've been compensating. Your other leg has been compensating all this time and protecting the injured leg. And so your mind has to get back trained into trusting your leg that was hurt.
Yeah.
And that takes time. That's why typically it takes a year afterward. Like, you'll be healed in 4 months, but your mind is still kind of caught up in the trauma because it was a trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
That was when I heard it. That was the first real injury I'd ever had in my life, and it was like I remember just laying on the ground. And I was looking at my leg. It was bent to the side, and my kneecap was in my shin.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, that's not good. And I had to watch the dude put my knee back and pull my kneecap. It was gnarly, and and the whole overcompensating thing. I did that for years, and then I ended up blowing my left knee out because it was just so worn out, I think, from overcompensating for all the years. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a double knee brace guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'm 29 years old,
He's
man.
that guy at the park.
I wear ankle braces and knee braces, man. I got to stretch.
He's got copper fit underneath his knee
What
braces.
happens when you get older?
I know, right? I'm feeling it. It's cold now too. I feel it in my joints.
So wait, before we get too far out of that movie, you said that this you talked 6 hours to this reporter over a 2-day span. Now in the movie, this reporter I forgot her name. I gotta ask, was she just part of the movie, or was she a girlfriend? Like they kind of made it out to be on the movie.
She was a composite of several girls I was dating at the time.
Oh,
There you go.
And
Play I
that
Just Crush a
came
Lot.
from- but I didn't date them all at the same time, but just several girls I dated over the time period in which I had my brother.
Yeah, I
Right.
gotcha.
Making it one person, they made
feel
it several different people.
It wouldn't be
made it
very-
a more Disney wholesome.
yeah, it wouldn't be
story.
very Disney if it was like, a bunch of different girls.
It showed y'all at parties a couple times, though.
Yeah,
I'd say
right.
they went a little. I don't know. We were talking. I was like, we gotta ask if that was, if they ended up being a girlfriend or something, because that's how they made it out to be on the movie.
Nah,
So
they kept the initials consistent.
that's good.
There you go.
There it is.
Hell yeah.
So
There you go.
then you finished off at Mars Hill College, correct? Over in North
Yes.
Carolina, your playing career?
I'm probably the only football player to play D1 AA, and D2 football.
Hey, you gotta do it, right?
Yeah.
Get in where you
that
can,
was-
man.
Man, if you
journeyman.
feel
That's
like
what's
you
up.
got more there, it's like I said, we all grew up. I mean, I know for Aaron, I know for a bunch of my friends, like growing up playing football and other sports, that was a passion as a kid and up through high school. And some of us could make it to play after high school. Some of us can't. Some of us want to. Some of us had aspirations for the pros that at the time we didn't really know what the percentages were or
Yeah.
what. But it's just about playing till you can't anymore. You reach the highest. You know what I mean?
That's what
Right.
bothers me.
We all
mostly-
had that aspiration.
That's what
man.
bothers me mostly about the pros is you see the guys that they lose that love and it becomes all about the money, because up until that point you just played for the love. I mean, you loved playing the game of football and you were there. I mean, obviously, if you're at Clemson or something, you have a little more in your mind about, okay, this is kind of a job. This is an audition for the NFL, but it's still for the love of the game. You're not getting paid. You get a scholarship. You know what I mean?
But ask yourself this question. Right now, would you go get tackled for free?
Oh, for free? Hell no.
No.
Not anymore.
Hell no,
Not
man.
anymore.
No.
Well, that's why, like, when to piggyback off what Aaron said, I'm like, when you make it to that pro part, your body's a business now. You know, it's people are making money off your body, and what you can do, your ability. So you really gotta, find your worth and get that money. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? It's never been my own.
You're technically getting a bunch of back pay. By the
Right.
time you get to the NFL, you're getting those checks.
Yeah.
You get all that time you put on prior.
Very true.
True.
That's
So
very true. Because
once you get to pay 25 and you're not in the NFL,
Yeah.
like getting tackled for free doesn't make sense.
not
So
anymore.
Oh, I wasn't saying for free.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when you see these guys and they like don't want to play because they're making 12 million instead of 13.5, and it's like, I mean, I get, but like, come on, guy. Like, Le'Veon Bell.
I'm always telling them to get their money, man. I hate
But
counting
the
people's
part-
wallets.
There's two parts of it. So that's why I was just like, a lot of them felt like they're being paid for all the work they did prior to that. So,
Right.
that million, that 15 million is for those 15 years
Yeah.
of 15 years of, every day I'm at it. And so it's two-way street. No, I don't appreciate any guy, taking the game lightly or taking it for
Yeah.
granted. And most guys that love the game will tell you that. But there are two sides to it where it's like it's so much it puts on your body and it's so much that they put you through, especially to make it up until that point. And up there, they don't care about you as much as
Oh,
the
hell no.
colleges or even your little league team. It is a business, so get your money.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure get your money. But I love what you brought up. The back pay thing is like, man, most of us started 7, 8, 9 years old. We're especially talking sports, but we're talking football right now, which is the most taxing. And then I was just thinking about the years we played, for free and whatever, and then it's all the wear and tear we put on our body, concussions, knees.
I've been
feet.
knocked out a few times
Oh,
and I
my
blew
God.
out a knee.
So
Oh,
yeah.
But, I mean, that's hazard pay like COVID, not to compare it.
Yeah, I got you.
In sensitive way, but there's a reason there we're getting hazard pay.
Right.
And football is pretty dangerous as well. I mean, if you're in a lower, younger demographic, just like with COVID, you got a chance you'll survive more than likely. But there are some repercussions to doing it for so
Right.
long and continuously doing it, and it's traumatizing too.
Especially seeing nowadays, I mean, the mental aspects with the CTE,
yeah.
that's having on people with like junior Seau and stuff like that.
I never got to that part because think about this: if you knew, right, that chances are, here's your numbers, 1 in a million chance. If I work 18 years, at the end of this, I have a 1 in a million shot to make it. But I've invested all this time. It's a terrible investment if you consider, the possibilities of your outcome, because you're still not in control. No matter how much work you do on that front end, chances are still slim, as opposed to education where you can kind of guarantee your slot. If we put that same time that we put into football into education or into a trade, by the time we're done on the other side, we can actually be paid the entire time we're learning, as well as once we're professional.
Right.
And football, it doesn't go that way, and so it's a terrible investment if you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just thinking about long term,
The odds.
because on the eyes, if you do the numbers, it seems like your best deal.
It's not just odds; it's luck that has to be
Yeah.
on your side.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you get past the odds, well, you still have to get out with somewhat less of a cloudy mind, and you got to have some good knees. So you got to have, you got to have the people around. You got to be lucky with the people around you. You got to be lucky with your health. That's why they say, make sure you have a back. Something to
Plan B.
a fallback plan, and that's why they try to entail you to get a trade or to get your degree and find your interest in something, because one ACL tear and you're not committed to that rehab, there's someone else behind you that was an All-American, All-League, All-County, so far and so such, is just going to take your place. And
Yep.
guess what? Those front office people are going to be like, well, hey, we got this covered. Cut them.
Real quick, what's you guys ages?
I'm 30. We're both
29.
29
pretty much
and 30.
Yeah.
Okay, 29 and 30. At 25, would you consider yourself stupid?
Yes.
I mean, figuratively compared to the rest of the adult demographic,
Just life,
yes.
like life decisions.
I'm gonna say
yeah.
I wasn't stupid, but yeah, to an extent. Yeah.
I mean, I had my career already, but just life decisions in general. Yeah.
What about 18?
Oh, for
hell yeah.
sure.
You didn't know any better.
Football partying, basically, at that point.
So, but at 23, for most of these guys, 21, 22 actually, they're given more money than they ever had in their lifetime.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've given more opportunities than they ever had in their lifetime. And it happens all at once with no prior training for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a situation where they're set up to fail because
100%.
nothing speaks to that, because youth is wasted on the young because we don't know no better at that time.
Yeah.
And even with the backup plans, few of us believe in the backup plan, because in order to get to the NFL, it's almost like you got to believe that the backup plan is not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one focus and that's it.
Yes, I'm going to make it. But the ignorance of it is that knowing the numbers and to think you're that guy. But youth,
Yeah.
the invincible 20s, nobody could touch you at 20.
Right.
When you got to the back end, you're like, well, maybe I need to make better decisions. Maybe I got to warm up.
Yeah, I got to warm up. I got to stretch. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a great.
That's a thing these days.
This is a great point, because I've heard so many previous athletes that you have zero. You have people from different backgrounds who maybe didn't have money or have all this luxury. You're going to be having, as soon as you get that first payday, you're going to have people coming out of the woodworks that you haven't, friends, the worst part, family. You got cousins from everywhere coming out of the woodworks, trying to get a little piece, something. And this is all from retired athletes, or
right,
that have brought this. I mean, this it's crazy, man. Can't even fathom it.
It's universal. We all go through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
At a movie,
He's like, I got a freaking loop.
right. Well, we were talking. You said it's all about longevity and stuff, and most of the guys they can't make it more than 5-6 years in the league. I was talking to someone about Tom Brady, and it's like, yes, he's the GOAT. You can't really say anything about it, but I mean, I think it's mainly because the dude's never injured. He's always healthy, so he's always has the opportunity to play. I think I remember him getting hurt once with the Patriots.
With the ACL.
Yeah.
But other than that, like he's always in the playoffs because he's healthy and he's playing. I think Drew Brees, if he hadn't been hurt some of those years, he'd have more. But
guys like Frank Gore, he's been in the league so long. He's been hurt a few times,
Longevity.
but he's been in the league for quite
especially
a bit.
a running back. You want to talk about longevity? Frank Gore being able to play running back since he was Jim Brown's teammate, right? that boy
He played in Cleveland
forever,
too. Well, yeah, it speaks to the longevity. So, speaking back of Disney and the movie, when did they approach you with the idea, or how did that kind of process go, man?
Well, like I said earlier, the producer who did my movie also did other movies with Disney.
Yes.
So he had that relationship with Disney as well. And he saw my movie on the internet, on TV. He saw the story on the internet, on TV, and felt that it would be a good movie. And he came and got my rights back in 2006.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had signed with studios prior to signing with Disney. And so for me, this was a continual process. I was signed for 18 months, 2 years, and then nothing would happen. I signed again. Nothing would happen. It would be various studios, not Disney. And Disney came along, and I signed again. And I was, okay, forget it. I don't care. They just want to tell me they're going to make a movie. And since they had Disney Plus, it became more of something that they had to do immediately. They needed the content. It was a great story.
Uh-huh.
And this time, unlike all the other times, it was actually going to happen. But even that process, it took 16 months for them to tell me. We was towards the end of my initial contract. And I thought, again, it wasn't going to happen. But luckily it did. And I'm in this situation, which is great.
Right. So what was it like, though, I guess, trying to cast yourself and your friends? Did you have any say in any of that?
Yes, they let me look at the people and give
Okay.
my opinion.
And be like, yeah, that
But
looks like me. That looks like so and so, like type deal.
yes. But there were over 300 guys that auditioned to play me.
Oh wow.
Dang.
So did they show you a list of like 5? Like these are our final 5. What do you think? Type thing, or yeah, okay.
And then so goes to the next question. Jay Reeves played you in the movie. How'd he do? And tell us a little bit.
Are you
about
guys
him.
close?
Yes, yeah. I talked to Jay today. Ironically, not necessarily ironically. We pretty much talk every day because we invest together in various different things.
Gotcha.
And we're investment group, but nonetheless. But me and Jay are very cool. We were cool once I found out he had the part. We lived less than a mile away from each other in Los Angeles.
Oh, no
Okay.
way. That's crazy.
So we went to the same gym, but never really interacted with each other. And then we had the opportunity to meet each other. We met each other at the gym. We worked out, and then we became cool from there on. Then we hung out. I guess part of the role was for research for the movie, but I also trained the cast because I was a personal trainer at the time. So I trained the cast, and I trained Jay to play me. And so we spent a lot of time together, and it was great. And so I think he did a wonderful job. And hopefully we do a sequel that he can play me again.
Yeah, right. There we go. So you've obviously kind of like said throughout this that there was parts of the movie. Was it pretty accurate? I mean, you know, when you look back on it, it's pretty dang accurate to your life. I mean, obviously there's little indiscrepancies here and there, but
A lot of the discrepancies came in the timeline.
okay.
More so than the events not being true to what happened, but it was more so the timeline of when it happened. Because the conversation with my mom happened prior to Fahmarr getting there. Because I had to get him in school
Right.
before anything that went down with the NCAA. So I already had custody of him.
Oh,
so
okay.
Eventually, I had made that decision. And then the NCAA came to me going to the NCAA. And there was just things like that. That was slightly different, but pretty much accurate. I guess considering all the things that I've heard about other biopics and how much of the stuff was off and not true to the story. So it was pretty good.
All right. Well, last but not least, we just first off we want to know what you're up to now, and then we want to know how Fahmarr and your mom are doing.
As a fam, the fam is crazy. To be honest. We still a little dysfunctional, but
That's family.
That's every family.
Every family. We all got our things. But Fahmarr's doing well. Trying to find itself in a sense. Trying to figure out, what to do with all the new publicity, all the fame. He's more of an introvert, and so it's not something he gravitates towards. But he's doing well with it, considering he likes, I guess, everything else that comes along with it, but the attention. My mom's doing well. I guess every day's, a day done well if she's, clean.
Yeah.
And so I've always got to be blessed with that in that situation and just, hope for the best. Because I know as a young man that's been through this with my mom and other addicts as a drug and alcohol counselor, that each day is its own day, it's its own task, it's its own battle.
Right.
So just take it one day at a time. It only works if you work it. And I'm glad she's continuing to work that. And then as far as me, I've done a lot of different things. More so anything, I'm getting ready to go on tour as a speaker. And so I'll be speaking a lot, telling people about my life and all the things that I went through and my struggles and how I overcame and I guess how I lived. I just tried to do the best thing that I could and be of service at all times. And so it's one of the things, and through that, I started a foundation, Ray Ray Safety Net Foundation. It's for kids and families like myself.
Ray Ray Safety Net?
Website, www.rayraysafetynet.com. And it's just continue to try to pay it forward because that was something I was told by all the people that invested in me, as I would say. Because I wouldn't say I begged from anyone or, took handouts, because anything that I was given was an investment, whether it be time, insight, or monetary, or anything tangible. It was so that I could be a better person. And I guess my only goal is to continue to be that person.
Right.
I'm working with an after-school program called Scholars Ed that was started out of Canada. It has 54 facilities, 2 in the United States. working with the NFL, some of the NFL players to build facilities all over the states. They just built one in New Orleans. They have one in Atlanta that Jamal Lewis does. The one in New Orleans is Armstead and Drew Brees.
Okay.
So I'm partnered up with them. They put me on the board, and I'm trying to do some big things with them. Looking forward to teaching people financial literacy and other educational things through Scholar Ed, as well as my foundation. I started a trucking company, Safety Freight, to play on the movie, as well as continue to do what I was doing prior to it. And my brother started a company because I was raised by my coaches. One of my stepbrothers had already, one of my brothers, I call him stepbrother, but one of my brothers started a trucking company 2 years back, and he was doing well. And so I decided to join in with him. And my mom and Fahmarr helped me with the trucking as well as my foundation. So that's what a number of different things that I'm doing. And I guess one of the more important things is investing, because financial literacy is important. And investing is one of the things that they don't teach you or talk about when you're younger. But then after everything that's going on in the news with GameStop, things are getting
right. So
It's crazy.
So like, that's something that I feel like needs to be said to more of, like you mentioned, the guys coming into the league getting this big paycheck at
Financial
21.
literacy.
They need to have financial literacy. They need to have guys like you that are telling them, hey, don't go buy this $60,000 chain with your name on it. Like, save that money and do that on your next contract or something. You know, right? Like,
right. Have that money pay for itself. As I tell you, invest in the things that you like, and then have them pay you for the things that you want.
Absolutely.
So if you like Tesla, invest in Tesla stock and have Tesla pay for your Tesla.
Smart man. There you go.
Woo-hoo. That's
That's
money.
genius.
Yeah, because some people will consider it what they call buying your freedom. So if you got an AT&T bill, invest in AT&T. They give a dividend. And so eventually you'll have enough stock that they'll pay your cell phone bill with your dividends that you invest in the AT&T. Or if you, whatever power company you with, or whatever, all these companies, all the things that you pretty much spend money on, have companies or have a parent company that's traded publicly. And so to buy back your freedom, you invest in the things that you already pay for. So anytime you pay them, you pay yourself, essentially.
There it is.
Out here dropping knowledge,
financial
bro.
literacy. Financial literacy,
Jeez,
boy.
man.
Yeah.
I'm over here talking about the millionaires. You're out here helping the thousandaires. Let's go.
Oh, that's great, man.
You can start with anything. That's
Got to
what
be
I
a
tell
thousandaire before you're a millionaire. It's
$1,000.
baby steps.
That's right.
But hey, man, Ray, thank you so much for joining us. This was a blast. It was great getting to know a little bit more about your family, your life. Talk about the movie.
Yeah, definitely nice having you on, man.
Yeah.
It's been cool getting to know you.
For everyone who doesn't know and is watching this, you can find the movie Safety based on Ray Ray's experience at Clemson and part of his life. You can find that on Disney Plus. Go watch it. It's a great movie for the kids, for you and the family.
You call it Facebook Plus?
Did I call Facebook
No,
Plus?
did you? I
thought you said
Disney
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
Disney Plus. Disney Plus.
We'll go back in the tapes and see if he's
Yeah,
guilty.
we'll see. That's all good. And guilty, I'm guilty. But Disney Plus, go find Safety. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Follow us on our YouTube page, Garage Gang Podcast. We're gonna start posting our episodes, our video exclusively on our YouTube page. But
You can still find all the stuff we've done on Facebook video.
Yeah.
And
our
and at
Instagram page,
audio at Spotify, Apple,
Ray,
Stitcher.
you're the man.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on. We would love to have you on again. We're going to keep in contact with you. We would like to send you a shirt. So if you want to send us an address or something where we can send that to you, obviously we can do it off the air. But something we can send you a shirt, show you a little love for coming on and spending your time with us.
Most definitely. I'm not an NCAA athlete. I can accept shirts.
Yeah,
My
definitely.
man.
And by the way, we weren't lying at the beginning. If you're in town, you hit us up. We'll show you some good Central Coast Santa Maria style barbecue, or we'll hit up Jocko's, man, and then just have a good time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good to me, man. I appreciate you all having me. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, man.
Have a good one, man.
All right.
Take it easy.
Thank you.